Kristoffer Reitan may have just captured one of the biggest victories of his career, but the Norwegian golfer wants everyone to understand one thing clearly: success on the PGA Tour is never handed out simply because you were already successful somewhere else. Fresh off his stunning triumph at the 2026 Truist Championship, the 28-year-old Norwegian star opened up about the difficult transition from the DP World Tour to the PGA Tour, admitting that despite his success in Europe, arriving in America felt like starting his entire career over from scratch. On paper, Reitan's rapid rise looks almost unbelievable. The Truist Championship marked only the 15th PGA Tour start of his career, yet he already managed to secure a signature event victory, one of the most prestigious wins available outside the major championships. The tournament featured a massive $20 million purse and a stacked field filled with elite players, making Reitan's breakthrough even more impressive. But behind the headlines, trophies, and growing fame lies a story filled with uncertainty, pressure, and the challenge of proving himself all over again. Speaking after his victory, Reitan reflected honestly on how different life has felt since arriving on the PGA Tour earlier this season. "I came from the DP World Tour, where people were starting to recognize me as a good player," Reitan explained. "And then I came over here, and I had to start from scratch. I had that feeling that no one had any idea who I was. So I had to earn it." That statement perfectly captures the difficult reality international players often face when moving to the PGA Tour. Even after building strong resumes overseas, many golfers quickly discover that American audiences, media outlets, and even fellow competitors often pay little attention to accomplishments earned outside the PGA Tour spotlight. Winning in Europe may bring respect among hardcore golf fans, but mainstream recognition in the United States remains an entirely different challenge. For Reitan, the adjustment was especially noticeable because he arrived with genuine momentum. Back in Europe, the Norwegian had already established himself as one of the DP World Tour's rising stars. During the 2025 season, he captured 2 victories and played some of the best golf of his professional career. Those performances earned him full PGA Tour membership for the 2026 season and positioned him as one of the most intriguing newcomers entering the American circuit. Yet despite those accomplishments, Reitan quickly realized he was largely unknown to casual PGA Tour fans. Unlike fellow Scandinavian stars Viktor Hovland and Ludvig Aberg, who entered the PGA Tour with massive hype and widespread media attention, Reitan arrived more quietly. He lacked the same level of promotional exposure, collegiate fame, and superstar narrative that surrounded some of Europe's newer golf sensations. As a result, he entered PGA Tour events feeling almost anonymous. The crowds were smaller around him. The media attention was limited. Even though he had already proven himself internationally, he understood that PGA Tour success would be the only thing capable of truly introducing him to a wider audience. And now, after his victory at Quail Hollow, the introduction has officially arrived. Reitan's breakthrough did not happen overnight. Over the past several weeks, signs of his rise had already started appearing. One of his most impressive performances before the Truist Championship came at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans, where he teamed up with fellow Norwegian Chris Ventura. The duo nearly pulled off a dramatic victory before ultimately finishing runner-up behind the Fitzpatrick brothers. Even though they fell short, their performance immediately caught attention throughout the golf world. Fans began noticing Reitan's calm demeanor, elite ball striking, and ability to compete comfortably against established PGA Tour names. That tournament became a turning point. Suddenly, galleries started growing larger around Reitan's groups. More fans recognized his name. Television commentators began discussing his background and European success. For the first time since arriving in America, he started feeling like he genuinely belonged inside the PGA Tour environment. A few weeks earlier, he had already shown flashes of his potential with a top 10 finish at the Valero Texas Open. But his consistency at bigger events truly started changing perceptions. Then came Quail Hollow. Against one of the strongest fields of the season, Reitan delivered the performance of his career. Not only did he handle the pressure of a signature event, but he also defeated several established stars, including fan favorite Rickie Fowler, in the process. Winning at Quail Hollow represented more than just another tournament victory. It became validation. Validation that his European success was real. Validation that he belonged among the PGA Tour elite. Validation that his game could travel anywhere in the world. Reitan admitted after the victory that hearing fans shout his name during tournaments has been a strange but rewarding experience. "It's been cool the last few weeks to suddenly see people in the crowd shouting my name," he said. For many players, fame and recognition become overwhelming distractions. But for Reitan, those moments symbolize something different, proof that his hard work is finally being noticed. Still, he insists popularity itself is not his primary focus. "If I play well enough, then, yeah, the galleries will know who I am," Reitan explained. Today was probably a step toward that. Not necessarily looking to accomplish that, but it is cool to kind of get into the PGA Tour environment or that group a little bit and feel like you belong. That sense of belonging has clearly grown rapidly over the past month. Just days before his Truist Championship victory, Reitan had already hinted at increasing confidence in his place among golf's biggest names. During an earlier press conference, he admitted he was starting to feel like I belong out here. Now, after capturing one of the richest tournaments of the year, that belief has likely transformed into certainty. The financial rewards alone are life-changing. Signature events on the PGA Tour offer some of the largest prize purses in professional golf, and Reitan's victory at the Truist Championship secured him a massive payday from the tournament's $20 million purse. Beyond the immediate earnings, the victory dramatically changes the trajectory of his career moving forward. Winning a signature event provides more than money. It opens doors. For Reitan, the triumph guarantees entry into several of the PGA Tour's biggest upcoming events, including additional signature tournaments featuring elite fields and enormous prize pools. It also significantly improves his standing in the FedEx Cup race and world rankings. Most importantly, however, it provides confidence heading into the next major milestone of his career, the PGA Championship. The upcoming major at Aroniming Golf Club will mark Reitan's first ever appearance in the PGA Championship. Although he has already competed in the other three major championships, this tournament represents unfamiliar territory. Ironically, his qualification for the event was already secured before the Truist Championship victory. Thanks to his runner-up finish alongside Chris Ventura at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans, Reitan had already punched his ticket to compete for the Wanamaker Trophy. But arriving as a signature event champion now changes the expectations entirely. Instead of entering quietly as an unknown first-timer, Reitan will arrive at Aroniming as one of the hottest players in the world. That momentum could prove invaluable. Earlier this year, Reitan made his Masters tournament debut at Augusta National, ultimately finishing tied for 41st place. While respectable, the performance also showed signs of inexperience under major championship pressure. Now, however, he appears far more comfortable on golf's biggest stages. His confidence is growing. His name recognition is increasing. And perhaps most importantly, his belief in his own ability has never been stronger. The PGA Championship therefore arrives at a perfect moment in his career. If Reitan manages another strong performance there, his rapid ascent could accelerate even further. Golf fans have already seen similar breakthroughs recently from young European stars like Ludwig Aberg, who quickly transitioned from promising newcomer to major contender almost overnight. Reitan now appears capable of following a similar trajectory. Beyond the PGA Championship, his Truist victory also guarantees him spots in other major PGA Tour events later this season, including prestigious signature tournaments like the Memorial Tournament and the Travelers Championship. Those opportunities matter enormously because they provide consistent access to elite competition and massive prize funds. For many PGA Tour rookies, earning entry into top-tier events requires months, or even years, of grinding through qualifiers, lower-tier tournaments, and sponsor exemptions. Reitan has now bypassed much of that struggle with one enormous week. But despite the sudden success, his comments reveal someone who remains grounded. Rather than acting like an overnight superstar, Reitan continues speaking like a player who remembers exactly how quickly things can change in professional golf. He understands that respect on the PGA Tour is earned through sustained performance, not one breakthrough week. That mindset may ultimately become one of his greatest strengths. Professional golf is filled with players who flash briefly before disappearing. What separates long-term stars from temporary sensations is often the ability to remain motivated after early success arrives. Reitan appears determined to keep proving himself. And perhaps that is why his story resonates so strongly. In an era where hype often arrives before accomplishments, Reitan represents something different, a player who quietly built his game overseas, arrived in America with little fanfare, and forced the golf world to finally pay attention through performance alone. Now, after conquering a $20 million PGA Tour signature event and defeating some of the sport's biggest names, Kristoffer Reitan no longer needs to wonder whether people know who he is. The PGA Tour knows now.